Good Monday morning, fellow traders. It's Black Coffee Trader. It is time to do the daily plan. So let's just dive right in. It's a beautiful Monday. The markets are looking pretty clear to me, so hopefully we can execute on the plan today and do a better job than we did on Friday. We'll start with the Nasdaq taking a big look. I really want to point out this big high from that mega move we had on the markets back in early April. I think April the 9th, 10th, whatever 9th this is. That was the day the market had this absolute rocket ship of a move. This has been a critical point on the Nasdaq, the 19,385s. You could make the case for 19,380 to 400 basically, but pay attention to that, and then I'm going to zoom into a smaller time frame to look at some of these areas. But this is a big deal, this level right here around the 19,400s. So let's dive into the 15-minute chart. I think things will get a little bit more clear for us there, and we can talk through the game plan for today. Come on, computer, here we go. All right, so the thing I want to point out today is going back to Thursday. Thursday, the market opened somewhere right in here, and we pushed up all the way into this high. We actually crossed this high, and the market closed somewhere right around this big, no, it didn't. I'm sorry, I misspoke there. This is that big high. This is the high for the 385s. We pushed up, we couldn't get there, and we closed right around here, around the 200s. In the overnight session on Thursday night of last week, we pushed up and we held very strongly above that 385 level, 400 level. But then in the early pre-market, right before the market opened, we fell back down, but we did hold these 200s. On Friday, the market pushed up and we did hold above the 400s. I had 385 on the bigger time frame, but it's really about 400. We held that 400. And the critical thing is that has held strongly in the overnight session, starting with market open last night. We have held that extremely well. And this, my friends, is pivotal. This is huge. This is a must-hold level, in my opinion, today. We have to hold above these 400s for this bullish move to continue to the upside. This purple line obviously is high of day from Friday. This dark blue line is the low of day from Friday, and so this is the game plan for me today. Here we go with the if-then statements. I'm a big if-then guy when it comes to trading the markets. If this market can hold this 400, we will be looking for long trades off the 400s. If we can break and retest the 600s, which I think are pretty pivotal as well, this is that high, we will look for longs all the way up here. If we can get above this, it is game on, baby. We are going higher. If we fall below Friday's lows, looking for shorts down into the 950s, and if we fall below the 950s, looking for shorts down into this gap fill. This is that unfilled gap area from back here on the 22nd, 23rd. You can see we had this gap. We have not really filled it, but that is the big game plan on the Nasdaq. This X area, this is an area I am not looking to trade. Here's why. If you could short this, but you're shorting right into a heavy demand area almost, or support area here. If you long this area, you're longing right up into this major level at 400, which I think is very dangerous. So I think the best thing to do, again, is to wait for pullbacks. My number 1 and 2 trades would be pullbacks into the 400s for longs, or break and retest above the 600 for longs. I think that would actually be my number 1 trade. If we fall into this area between the 2 and 400s, I'm just not looking to trade. I do not want to take trades in here. I think it's too risky. I want to see us fall below the 200s to look for short setups down below. So that's the big plan on the Nasdaq. ES, take a look at ES. On ES, it's pretty clear as well. We have that big high from that market push. That level comes in somewhere around the 555.30s. Let's kind of zoom in here a little bit tighter. The similar game plan is in play on ES. Thursday of last week, we pushed up. We didn't quite get to, yes, we did get to the 30s. In the overnight session, we kind of held that, but not as cleanly. We didn't as cleanly hold that as we did on the Nasdaq, and we fell back down in here into the 5485s. And then we push back out, and that is kind of the base of these wicks from the 23rd. This big move to the upside. That is kind of where we fell into. This is a pretty big resistance turned into support, held support. So I think that's a pretty big deal right now. And then on Friday we pushed up and we held above the 5530 range. But you can see in the pre-market we've fallen below. We have now pushed back out. And we are above that level as we speak. It is currently about 7:30 in the morning on Monday morning, so we've got a couple hours yet before the market opens. But we are trying to hold this level on ES as well. So this big red X, I am really not interested in anything between the 5560s or the 5480s on ES. I really want ES to, I think it's too muddy. I think this is just too muddy for me. I want this to push above the 5560s. If you go to the daily chart, you can really see the 5560s. I think I talked about this on Friday as well. This is that area that I think really needs to break on ES. And if we break above the 5560s, notice you have holds coming in here. You've got holds coming in here. This turned into rejection. We rejected it. We rejected it on Friday, and today we are below it. But if we can reclaim that, that is where I think the rocket ship can come into play on ES, is if we can get above this 5560 range. I'm not interested in anything between here. It's too muddy. If we fall below the 5485s, 5480, then we can look for shorts down into the 5440s. Possibly, if we lose the 5440s, we can either look at a continuation short or another short setup down into this gap fill on ES. We have a small little area that has not been filled yet on ES. So that's the plan on ES. The number one trade is a break and retest above the 5560s for longs up into the 5700s. That would be the ideal setup on ES. And I feel like, I mean, ES, it's not quite as clean, but this is the absolute must hold. If we fall below the 5480s today, 5485s, we're going back down. If we can hold this, push up, I mean, you could say, well, this would be good long setup because of this big area, and you might be right. I just don't know if I'm taking it. I really want us to get up here. I don't want to long into this little chop session right here around this big high. Gold. Let's look at gold. Gold is fairly clean. I'm going to look at the daily chart. This kind of shows the bigger picture. So we have the 3265s, and look at this major hold from the last 4 days coming in. I think really looking for a long setup into long. This is kind of a pivotal point. I'm not interested in too much between the 3260s, 3270s, and the 3200s. I think this is kind of the danger area. You could say, well, you could short down into this, and you can, but you're shorting right down into this big level of support right here. So I really want us to fall below the 3200s to look for a short setup, or possibly set up a hold long here, or the best trade would be if we push out, we can break and retest the 3375s for a long up into the highs. And you can kind of see the arrows that I drew here. This is that break and retest above 3370s for a long up into the highs. This is the hold level, the 3265 range. If we can hold this area to really set up a long in here, you're kind of longing into this chop section, but this is such a major hold that if a good hold and long opportunity sets up, it's worth the shot, I believe. This is that area I'm not really looking to trade, and then this is that 3200. If we break below, starting to look for shorts down to the downside. I think my gut tells me that we're looking. This is probably going to continue to go higher. On the Dow, the Dow is definitely a little bit muddy as well. On the Dow, it's not as strong as what the Nasdaq and the ES is. On the Dow, this is that big area. This is that big push area, market push area, back into the 4100s, 41,100s. Notice how we had a big hold, here we have a support area, and obviously since this market pushed, this has turned into resistance. So this is critical. I think the Dow has to go above the 41.1s, and if we can get above the 41.1s, it sets up a beautiful long up into the 43,000s, and so on and so forth, up higher. I have this marked out this way. I am not interested in trades between the 39 fives and the 41 ones. I think it's way too choppy. It's way too risky. There's definitely opportunities there, but it's not something I'm wanting to take. If we fall below this 38,500, then we'll be looking at short setups into the 39 fives will be looking for shorts into the 38 fives, and then down if we fall below the 38,000, just looking for shorts down to the 37. I do have a long arrow marked right here at the 38 fives. If we fall below here and we get a hold at 38.5, I think this could be a good long setup, and here's why. 38.5 is this area right here. This is the highs from back on December 2022, and also a high area from August of 2023. That's a pretty big area, and here you have a little bit of a flip, turning this resistance into support right here on December the 6th, 2023. So I think if we pull back down into this 460-500 range, that could be a pretty good long setup to push back higher. Kind of see that right here. That's this level right here that I've got marked. So the number one trade, really, I may not even take this one. I may just wait to see if this sets up, because you kind of play with the Nasdaq and the ES with the Dow. If the Nas and the ES, especially if they're pushing higher, then if we take a trade here, we're going to be looking for this trade up here to set up, where we push above this big market high area right here. If we push above this, looking for longs, that would be number one. Number two would be this long, possibly, or this short, but that would be dependent on if ES and NQ are following suit. So that's the game plan for today. Keeping it fairly short and sweet. Hopefully you get some value out of this. And like I said at the outset, I'm going to try to do a better job today to really stick with the game plan and follow this. And that's why I drew some arrows in here for me on the higher time frame, so that I have something to really make sure that I remember what I talked about and not to deviate from that plan. Because I think here's the thing. If we take the time to chart these levels to get this right in the morning, and we look at, okay, this is the game plan that I have. This is the moves I want to see. I'm really not that interested in the Dow. I'm really interested in Nasdaq today. I really think this is the cleanest setup, is the Nasdaq. But if you take the time to look at this, you make your game plan. You're thinking with a clear brain. You're not in the moment and trading with emotion. Now you can rationalize. You can set up your game plan. Now what you have to do for the rest of the day is just follow if these things set up. And if they don't set up, they don't set up. And we save our capital and we look for another day. So anyway, hope that's helpful. Have a great day today. Trade well. Keep your head on straight. And we'll catch up with you on the next one. Take care and so long.